Hello and welcome to Capcom Classics Collection Week. All throughout this week, I'm going to be talking about the games of Capcom's Classic Collection, Volume 1, which was released in 2005 for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. This is going to be part of Xbox Classics, but it could be really part of PlayStation 2 Classics as well. Capcom Classics Collection was developed by Digital Eclipse and of course published by Capcom. The Volume 1 contains 22 of Capcom's greatest arcade hits, or really a few of their greatest hits, and then just some that they just threw in. So what you get here is a collection of some really amazing games. So, if you are a classic arcade player, and you love these kind of games, this is a great collection to get, even if you have Coin Ops, which is the multiple coin and console emulator for Xbox. And the reason is because Digital Eclipse added some additional bonuses to this game collection, things that you're not going to find in just the pure emulated versions. There'll be, unlockable, extra features such as like enhanced music that you can play throughout the games, or original artwork. Things like that just makes the games kind of more than just the sum of their part. To play the games, or to actually unlock what you need to for the extras, you need to play the games and do things in ways that you normally wouldn't do. Maybe like if you're going to play, for instance, the first game I'm going to be showcasing in Part 1 here will be 1942. Now, 1942 is a pretty basic game, but to unlock the various things that you got to do in this game, such as the artwork here, it's like you have to beat like the major boss. You can't just play the game for like 5 minutes or something, and then to unlock the tips or something, you got to beat like stage 18 or something. It's ridiculous, and then you got to get like over 20,000 points to unlock the music. But there are these unlockables, and they're there for people that are really skilled at them. I mean, I did play through 1942 in order to unlock this stuff, so I guess it worked on me. All right, so in this first installment, like I said, we're going to be playing 1942. So let's go into the settings here. That you can do here. You can adjust basically the dip switches to make the game easier or more difficult depending on what you want. And here's a cool feature: sound remix, on and off. First I'm going to show you what a game sounds like with it off. And then here you can load your high scores, which I guess I'll do. Alright, so let's play 1942. You can also adjust the button mapping to be whatever you want. So if you don't like the default button mapping, just change it to be whatever. Now, the version of 1942 being emulated here is the 1998 re-release, which is rather uncommon to find in MAME or whatever. You'll usually always just find the original 1984 version, but whatever. So, in addition to that, there's two different modes that you can play it in. You can play it in this sort of enhanced for like a television display, or you can go to video setup, play it in the original mode, which would be like you see right here. Whoops, got killed. I wasn't paying attention. Now, 1942 is a very simple game, about just shooting up lots and lots of enemies. You are a single North American, you're an American pilot, I guess, and you're shooting up countless hundreds of Japanese planes. This was the very first game in Capcom's 1940 series, and, Might be somewhat boring to play these days, but it's historically pretty important. So you can adjust the volume settings, you can change again the video, adjust to be whatever you want the mappings to be. You can run on rapid fire. I'm going to turn that off. Alright, let's Yes, I know. Alright, so here's what the game normally is. You gotta keep pressing the button to whenever you want to fire. Now, when I was a kid, I remember I played this game a whole lot on the NES. And also the Commodore 64. This game was just a whole favorite of mine, you know. It's like probably the original World War II first-person shooter, you know. Because I always imagined myself as the pilot of this plane, you know, and I was like, man, I'm doing it myself. I'm shooting down all these enemies, you know. Those kind of thoughts went through my head when I was a kid. Killed again. Alright. Now let's go to the controller setup. Let's turn on rapid fire and resume. Now, what makes 1942 sort of stand out from its peers is that you have an additional ability that you can do with your plane. As long as you don't get killed. Oh, come on. That's one thing that kind of sucks, is you have to wait for this to go through. Alright, let's do that. And that additional ability that you can do here is the loop-de-loop. And you do that in situations where you can't avoid enemy shots. The enemy shots will kill you if you try and dodge them, because, you know, they're not dodgeable. So there's stage 1 of 32. You know, 1942 is kind of ridiculous if you think about it, because you are a single P-38 pilot, you know, shooting down literally thousands and thousands of Japanese Zeros and Betty bombers and various other planes, all the way from Midway to Okinawa. Like, you'll go through Saipan and, you know, Iwo Jima towards the end of the game, you know, all the way to Okinawa. It's kind of, what? And then, you know, once you reach Okinawa and the end of the game, it's like, Japanese are like, oh, a single plane has reached us. We surrender. Alright, I'm gonna exit here, and let's go back to the main menu. And now let's go into the options setting. I did have the remix music on. Yes, I thought I did. So let's turn that off. No. Off. And back. Yeah, okay, good. Now let's check out the original sound. I had intended to do this first, but oh well. First things first, let's go to video setup. Let's put on the enhanced mode and resume. This is the original sound of 1942. It is probably the most annoying arcade game of all time. And because consoles, always strive to bring the arcade experience home, the NES version, the Commodore 64 version, and all other home versions of 1942, including the Game Boy Color version, use this extremely annoying beeping. So, thank God for the enhanced sound mode that this game offers. The Capcom Classics Collection offers, I mean. Of course, when you're playing this, it doesn't really matter if you're playing it on the PS2 or the Xbox, but the Xbox version does have 480p support, and so when you're playing this on a modern HD TV, as I'm doing here, the game still manages to hold up. You can use whatever controller you want. You can move around either with the analog stick or the D-pad, but obviously games like this are best played on a D-pad. And the Xbox Controller S has a rather good D-pad for this. So, no real complaints here. Or you can use an arcade stick if you prefer. And, that's a really good experience as well, because this kind of game really works well with an arcade stick, because, that's what it was kind of designed for. So when I can't escape, gotta do the loop-de-loop. You can do 3 loop-de-loops per stage, and they replenish, and you get extra points if you don't use them. When you die, you get powered down. Early in the game, it's very sparse visuals because you're just basically going over the Pacific Ocean. But later on, the game does have quite a bit of visual variety, for a game from 1984, in that you'll be going over, lakes and forests and cities and things like that. So 1942 is a very simple game, but, it's very historically important, and it's worth playing. If you're going to play it, the Capcom Classics Collection version is the best way to experience it because of the enhanced music and the ability to have auto-fire and, change the change the tape design to a more 16 by 9 or at least 4 by 3 display. And I gotta love this because, like, I swear to God, this game overestimates the number of zeros that Japan actually produced. You destroy more zeros in this game than there were actual zeros in the war. Total. There's thousands and thousands of games of zeros in this game. It's ridiculous. Alright, guys. So thanks for watching. You know, be sure to tune in for Part 2, because Part 2 will be up very soon. Like I said, this is going to be Capcom Classics Collection week, so I'm going to be posting, you know, every single game in this video, in this series, in this collection. I kind of didn't make my number 1, but oh well. So like I said, this is going to be, you know, a multiple part video, so, you know, next time I'm going to be doing another game in the Capcom Classics Collection series, and that's going to be all this week. So, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, let me know, and until next time, guys, see ya.